in Europe on European front, or as some already calling it, World War III.
Estonia has reported that 3 Russian MiG-31 fighter jets entered its airspace without permission on September 19th. Estonia called the incident unprecedentedly brazen, contacted NATO, and summoned the Russian ambassador to hand him a note of protest. Estonian Prime Minister Kristen Michel stated that the country's government has decided to request NATO consultations in accordance with Article 4 of the NATO Charter.
I think this never happened before in history. So this is the second week in a row and a second time that another country in NATO is calling for Article 4. Obviously, this is a tactic of desperation by Russia. This is definitely in their war books. They've done it before at the beginning of the war, where they would threaten Baltic states. They would start building fortifications on the border of Baltic states, and this would have a reaction from Latvia and Estonia, and they would start building their own fortification. And at that time, the support for Ukraine has weakened. So this is what Russia is trying to achieve right now. But I don't think that that's going to be the effect. I mean, European countries are not stupid. Think about, like, if you're a French president or a German prime minister or something like that, twice in 2 weeks, you're getting together because of this Russian threat over Europe. You understand that you have to do some escalation. It's not just going to stay in the same state. Maybe you have a different idea.
Yeah, at the same time, Russia is doing this because they can at the moment. They can get away with this because NATO's and Europe's response wasn't strong enough, because Russia only answers to power. And I don't think previously the response was strong enough. But we'll see. We'll see what EU along with Ukraine come up with. I did read that they're looking at closing skies over Ukraine, so any missiles or drones that Russia may want to send over further into Europe, Ukraine will be able to shoot them down, and obviously going to get NATO's support to do that.
This is really bad for Russia if Poland, after they suggested after their Article 4 that was last week, that they're going to close skies over Ukraine. That's bad news for Russia, even though they're kind of running out of options right now. So they're doing this desperation tactics, but they're not happy. I can tell you, Russians are not happy. And we should understand why Russia is doing this, because all of Russia is burning right now. Ukraine is doing this strategic coordinated strikes on Russia oil infrastructure. Their biggest NPZ, like the oil refinery, is burning. The second biggest is burning. The 26th biggest is burning. The pipelines are burning right now. The tankers for the Shadow Fleet, they've been destroyed. Ukraine is doing a lot of work on the battlefield to provoke this kind of response from Russia. So Russia is all out of options. What do you think? Do you think it's going to amount to a bigger response from NATO? I certainly would hope so.
It's going to have to eventually. NATO has been dragging its feet for long enough. They've been extra slow, so the time is now.
And we've been saying about this, like, guys, listen, Europe is next. Russia has said it openly. After we're finished with Ukraine, Ukraine is 40 million people, which is a mobilization resource to attack the rest of the Europe. In history, that's how they waged wars. Most of the wars that Russia waged, it was fought by Ukrainians. Right now, they're waiting to tap into those Ukrainian territories and Ukrainian people, Ukrainian resources, and wage the next war. But I think Europeans kind of getting to the point, hopefully, where they had enough. I mean, you cannot just, how Albert Einstein say, if you do the same thing and expect a different result, that's a definition of insanity. There is no way that Europeans are going to, week after week, get together and do nothing. And by the way, I'm kind of optimistic because Remember, after last week, after last week, the Article 4 was called. The cooperation between NATO and Ukraine increased drastically. There was about 5 different armament and ammunition shipments to Ukraine that were unscheduled. There was cooperation on drones, anti-drone warfare between Russia and Ukraine. So I think we kind of have to look forward and see where it's all going to lead. But it's definitely changing. The war is changing. There is a huge escalation on our hands.
Absolutely. And we'll definitely be following this developing story. So please subscribe, comment, and share this video. And we'll see you next time. Slava Ukraini!
Героям слава!